many times will you be lost? And how many times will you remember? You will forget, you will remember, again and again. And you will arrive at the point that every time you look at another human being in their eyes, you will see the Guru. You will see the light. You will see what they may not be able to see in themselves. When you see God everywhere, you are free. Gently now, coming down into the heart. Share the blessings. Share the clarity. Share the closeness to God. Share the waters of the Spirit with every out-breath of your heart. Feed everyone. Feed everyone. Let your life become the sacrifice. Let your life become the food that feeds the souls, that feeds the hungry. Let your every statement of life become a blessing of love and peace. A peaceful being creates a peaceful universe. A loving being sees love. A compassionate being sees perfection. There are specific beings you wish to bring to mind who are suffering, whether that suffering is physical or psychological or spiritual. Imagine them before you and surround them with a golden light filled with your thoughts of love and peace. And finally, thanks. The honoring and appreciation and obeisance to all those beings that have come forth to feed us. The gurus, the masters, all of the beings we've ever heard of, who exist as food for our souls, that we may know who we are. Gently, as you feel ready, move your cushions, walk a little bit. When lunchtime comes, there will be a bell every few minutes to remind you. Try eating mindfully. And at 2:30, we will meet back here. Namaste. Because I couldn't keep the level, the plane of reality at which my lust existed, solid long enough, though I tried. All right? But the thing was happening. It had gone beyond the point of no return. And there are stages of this game, and if you try to stop too soon, you'll end up obsessed. If you try to hold on after it's over, you end up just bored, really, more than anything else. Kind of bored and frustrated and sort of feeling the long, dark night of the soul. Because there's a long period in between. You can't give it up, and you can't do it. And people say, well, isn't there tantric sex? I would say for the most part that's baloney between human beings. That unless you have beings who are so free of their attachment to their desire system that at no time during the entire sexual act do they identify with being the experiencer of pleasure or arousal, can they do tantra. And if you find one of those, let me know. Otherwise, it's a phony thing, and they're just giving a rationalization for a more pleasure principle. Okay, well, we've certainly covered a lot of stuff, haven't we? Yeah, let me say a little bit about children, then I'd like to do an exercise with you. There are a couple of levels of your relationship to your child. First, you are the child's karma, and the child is your karma. And it says, for example, in the Gita, that a yogi, a fortunate yogi for a fortunate birth, would be born into a family of yogis. That is, a family where the parents are so conscious that at no time do they get lost in the drama of parent and child. They are totally there as a biological support system. They are protective of space and time and body. But they do it without identifying with being the doer of it. That is, they are the perfect mother without, if you said to them, who are you? They'd say, I am a being that is going to God. And what is your dharma? My dharma is that of being a mother. My way to God is through my motherhood. Not the statement, I am a mother. Because that definition, that identity with social role, is what lays a trip on the child, that the child must be the complementary role. The child's got to be the child. And actually, it's just a being who is being a child. And nowadays, when a lot of high beings are being born into families, a lot of people should be falling at their feet if they knew who they had there. There's this incredible, beautiful image of Krishna and Yasoda, I guess it was, who was raising Krishna. And she was holding Krishna. Krishna was her little baby, Gopala, and she was rocking Krishna. And suddenly Krishna, who was a fully conscious entity all the time and just playing this rule one through, opened his mouth, and she looked into his mouth and she saw the planets and the stars and the universe and the whole scene. She looked in the mouth and she freaked. I mean, she's suddenly holding this thing, you know. And then it says, the next line is, then Krishna, out of compassion, veiled her mind with mother love. once again veiled her with mother love. In other words, he put the veil back over and she said, "Oh, my baby." Right? And she went back into fulfilling the role. In other words, it was unbearable to her to fulfill the role when she knew what it was that she was fulfilling the role for. When you know you're holding God, it's tough. Right? But that's who you are holding, by the way. But you don't know it, and they don't know it most of the time. But can you imagine one that does know it? Okay? It's very tricky. So at one level, there is the biological caretaking. At another level, there is the social acculturating process. And there is the space of love and presence and freedom for the child to grow as it needs to grow. And the game of not imposing how the child has to come out. Because some of you will have children that are young beings and some of you will have children that are old beings. And it is not for you to make one of them out of the other, or to make them in your own image, because you may be younger or older than your child. You may have two children, one of whom wants only to make money and have possessions, and the other whom wants only to go to God. And you say, how can this be? They're both my children. Because everybody needed everybody else's karmic predicament. And when you're conscious enough as a parent, you create the space. It's like fertilizing your garden and tilling it and getting the earth soft and moist and ready and pressing with your fingers around the plant and then letting the plant grow. And sometimes you get these packages of mixed seeds and you put them in, you don't know what it's going to come up to be, and you pack it and you take really good care of it, although you don't know that it's not going to become a stinkweed. Right? I've been carrying on a long correspondence. One of my students lives in Anchorage, Alaska, and she's got 8 children. She just had her 9th child, and it was mongoloid. And she wrote me a long letter of her emotional reactions, and I wrote back, and we've been going through this now for 2 years. And that baby has become like a total space of love for everybody in the family. Every single being has spiritually grown through the presence of that being. And now the whole thing's flipped around so much that not only don't they feel the usual guilt and shame and fear and curse and all that stuff, but everybody feels this incredible blessing from having that being in their home. She teaches Hatha Yoga, and she takes the baby to the yoga classes, and the whole scene has turned into something else. It's like a Buddha in residence. Like a Buddha in residence. But the predicament is that a being that incarnates, unless they're going to turn into a blue baby and just wither away because there's no desire to stay on Earth, they have to develop some kind of ego structure. And the question is, how lightly can it be developed so that they can not get so lost in it that they can never get out again? And that will be a function of how much the parents are conscious, really. Because if you are conscious, you can help another person develop an ego structure without at any time confusing that being with their ego structure. That's like helping somebody dress in a sweatshirt without confusing them and their sweatshirt. It's the same thing. Is that dealing with your question? Now what I would like, we're going to do an exercise. Some of you have done this at some other retreats. Very interesting exercise. You are going to have to move slightly to find somebody into whose eyes to look. You're going to have to sit facing another person. The chairs can turn. If you have a marriage partner here, I would appreciate it if you would find that partner and sit facing that partner. Okay? We'll allow about 5 minutes now for stretching and for reorganization of space. Would everybody find somebody to look at? There can only be at most one left over, and eyes closed. Breathing gently in and out of your heart. if the person that is sitting closest to the kitchen or closest to the front of the hall, meaning out by the street, we will call number 1 and the other person 2. So if there's any confusion, would you straighten it out between the two of you now? It's not critical. Just decide which of you is number 1 and which of you is number 2. 1 is closest to the kitchen or closest to the front of the house. And then close your eyes again and sit and breathe quietly. Sit straight. Number 1. You open your eyes. Number 2, keep your eyes closed. Number 1. Look at number 2. Become aware of the entire process of looking at another human being. The judging, the attitudes of attraction and repulsion. Look at the person's body, sense their personality. Number 2, while this is going on, be aware of being studied. Be aware of all your reactions to being studied. Your pride or your discomfort. Allow yourself to notice and feel all of them. Don't push them away. Keep your eyes closed, number 2. Now, number 2, run through your mind the catalog of things that you would not like number 1 to know about you. And just assume for the moment that number 1 is a mind reader. And now feel your discomfort and let it all be. Number 1, you just keep being aware of number 2. Let all your intuitive and judgmental and attitudinal qualities flow. Don't try to up-level. Don't look for God. Just one human being looking at another. You can sense qualities of hang-upness in the other person. Notice them. Give them space. Allow them to be. Notice all your reactions, number 1. Desire, fear, power, superiority, inferiority. Love, compassion, pity, joy, sadness. Number 2, notice all your emotions as being studied or observed or judged or watched. Now close your eyes, number 1. Number 2, open your eyes. Study number 1. Study the body, personality. Study number 1 carefully. Number 1, feel yourself being looked at, being judged. Number 1, run through your mind all of the things that you would hide from number 2. And then imagine that they are all known. Number 1, keep your eyes closed. 2, just let all your opinions, judgments, feelings, reactions flow through you. Don't attempt to up-level. Number 2, close your eyes. Breathe gently, both of you. Now let's climb in and out of social role to see what those feel like. Number 1, in you, just as in everyone, is a childlike quality. In you, number 1, is a childlike quality. A quality of need for strength, for security, for protection. Let yourself feel that childlike place in you. Defenseless, wanting a shoulder to lean upon, needing strength, looking to another being for strength. Feel yourself weak against the forces of the world. Number 2, become strong. Number 1 needs you. Become responsible. Number 2, feel your own strength. Become a being towards which another person could lead, who could look for support. Strong, responsible, protected. Now, the 2 of you open your eyes and look into one another's eyes. Stay within your role. If you look between the 2 eyes, at the point on the nose, you will see both eyes. You don't get a strong focus, but a gentle focusing between the eyes, so you don't have to flip back and forth between eyes. Number 1, feel yourself needful, weak, helpless. Number 2, strong. Protective. Paternal or maternal, as the case may be. Close your eyes. Number 2, in you also is the child. In you also is somebody who at times needs strength from another person. Find that quality in yourself. Vulnerable, without defense, weak. Number 1, this being needs you to be strong. Assume that role. Become what you must be. You're called upon to be protective. All of your paternal or maternal feelings, let them come to the front now. Open your eyes, both of you. Stay in your roles. Experience, number 2, your childlike qualities, your dependency. Experience, number 1, your strength. Breathing in and out of the heart, keep the eyes open. Close your eyes. Number 1, you are a seeker after God. You have traveled throughout the world seeking to sit at the feet of a being such as Maharaji, seeking to have the darshan of a saint, of a being who is the light. You have heard of such a being. You have gone in search of this being. You have asked about this being in each village you've come to, told that the being is just a few miles away. You've come closer and closer on foot, getting more and more excited that you will have the opportunity to sit before this being. You have bought fruit and flowers. You have bathed. You finally come close enough As you approach, you meet people who have visited the saint, this realized being, and their eyes are luminous from the beauty of the moment of that experience. The being is sitting in a cave. You are approaching the cave. You come to the mouth of the cave, you look in. There is a small fire, and seated by the fire is a being in meditation. You enter the cave, you kneel, you bow, you offer your fruit and flowers, and then you sit before this being, ready to drink of the presence. Is that number one? Number two. You have done sadhana for many years. You've gotten clearer. You've consumed your anger, your attachment to your desires, all of the pulls of the world. You have come strongly into the spirit. You feel very much the love and the presence of God. Clearer and clearer. You have retreated to a cave to be with God. Through meditation you have merged. You sit strong, clear, and quiet. You have acknowledged who you are. Every now and then a being comes up the hill to sit before you. There's nothing you need to do, merely to be the purest statement of your being, and let each person take from you what they need. Sit strong and firm as yogi or yogini. You are a being of God. You are clear and free. At this moment, let go of all of the personality, all of the history, all of the definitions of self, and be. Pure awareness, pure clarity. Number one, you have waited for this moment to sit before a master. Open your eyes now, both of you. 2, become who you are. 1, drink deeply. Let your soul be nourished by the light that exists within the other being. In each of us exists the Guru. In each of us exists the disciple. Number 1, this is the moment when you are being fed in the Spirit. Number 2, be what you must be, what is being demanded upon of you. Be that pure light, that pure love, that pure consciousness. Breathing very gently in and out of your heart as you do this. Keep the eyes focused. Stay in. Number one, keep taking. Breathing very gently in and out of your heart as you do this. Keep the eyes focused. Stay in. Number one, keep taking. Take more. Drink your fill. Number two, be the statement of your higher self where God, Guru, and self are one. Know at this moment who you are. Become it. Now close your eyes. Number one, many years have now passed. You have met many holy beings. You've purified. And now you, like that person you sat before, you sit in the cave in total peace, total equanimity, a statement of love itself, deepest compassion. You sit strong and firm, a statement of the Dharma, of the way. Number two, you have died and reincarnated. And once again there is veil. Once again you must be reminded again of who you are. Once again you are seeking for the light. Number two, you have made a pilgrimage to find the Master. Finally, you have heard where such a being is, and you have sought to have darshan. You have walked many miles. There is much excitement, almost ecstasy at the thought that you will sit before a being of pure light. You have fruit, you have flowers, you have washed and prepared yourself, and now you come to the cave. Inside it's dim and your eyes must acclimate. And then you see a figure, number one, sitting there, silent, deep, profound, sitting the perfect statement of meditation. You enter, you offer your flowers and your fruit, and you sit before number one. You are ready to receive the teaching. Open yourself to receive the teaching. Number one, sit strong and straight and clear. No ego now. Nothing to do. You don't have to give this other person anything. You merely have to be the light. Be love. Be peace. Be stillness. Both of you open your eyes and let the darshan proceed. Number one, in your stillness there is bliss and rapture. You are quiet, you are strong, you are clear, You are the Ancient One. You are the light that has come down through the ages. Number 2, such grace to sit before such light. Drink. Take of it. Eyes closed. Now you see that in you is both that which seeks and that which is sought. In you is the disciple, in you is the guru. The purity and demand of your partner drew forth from you your highest being. Each of you have seen in the other what you also are. It is appropriate when you have had darshan of a high being to pranam, to bow, or to touch the feet. Number 1, bow to number 2. You can open your eyes. Realize as you're bowing that you are an incarnate bowing to your true self. And now reverse the process. Let the bowing take place the other way. And realize as you bow that you are bowing to the highest light that exists within all of our beings. And it is your act of humility that opens you to receive the transmission. Now sit straight. Everybody sit quietly with eyes closed and breathe in and out of the heart. I'd like to speak for a moment to the married couples that live together, whether they be married or not. You two have come together for many reasons. Now you are together. And now you also know that you are a being for whom this lifetime is a journey towards God. The fact that you are both here together means that you both wish to use your lives to bring you closer to your true self. You are for each other vehicles for getting closer to God. You do not get to God in spite of each other, but with each other. You have the opportunity to share your karma, to acknowledge and respect each other. One of you may be more attached than another. No blame. Acknowledgement. You are two separate entities going to God, but you are able to enter into a contract to share the journey of this lifetime and to share the karma with one another, so that one person's desire is the work for both of you, and one person's connection to God is the feeding for both of you. The man will open his eyes. Look at your partner. See that before you is another being just like you, another soul yearning for God. She is in a body. Your partner. That is the work of that other being in this lifetime. Recognize that other being. See her predicament. Allow your compassion to be complete for the ways in which that soul is lost into the illusion of its own separateness, is lost into its fears and desires and hopes and ambitions. See all of it. Close your eyes. The woman opened her eyes. See before you your partner, a being who you have the opportunity to share the journey with. It is no better to journey alone or with a partner. Each of us has a unique and peculiar karmic predicament. For some of us, we must journey alone. For others, we must journey with a partner. This is your partner. This is your soul partner. The two of you are working out your karma together. The being who sits opposite you is not that body, is not that personality. It is a fellow soul on a journey to God. At the husband open his eyes too, the man, be it husband or partner. You too. One level back from your souls are one. You are one who are identified with your separateness, so you appear as two. And then deeper and deeper you have gotten lost into personality, power struggles, desire relationships, body, differences and closeness, needful relationship, but behind it all, here we are. Two clear, quiet, conscious beings with work to do. The work includes joy and sadness, pleasure and pain, life and death, all of it. Recognize who you are, both of you. And as your work together progresses, again and again, meditate together, looking into each other's eyes until you can remember who we are. Let the contract to share karma become a delight, a joy. Even the suffering becomes grace. It's all grist for the mill of awakening. You may have personality things that grate on each other, body problems that create difficulty, differences in desire patterns. Recognize that all of your separate stuff is your collective stuff. And at this point, let it all be, and remember who you are. Work with it with grace and love and compassion. You are each other's teachings. You are each other's vehicles. If this relationship is blessed, it will bring you both closer to God. Close your eyes. Everyone breathe in. 3 deep breaths to the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the top of the head. As you go up, take any emotions that you have at this moment and draw them up over your head so you can sit strong and clear. You have tasted of who you are. Now the process, the sadhana, the journey, the path that is no path, is becoming it.